Hello and welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm Beth, a creator-based coach with CMH Coaching for Life. I'm here today to help you and those you love create a life you feel grounded and at home in. Think of a life where you feel peace, love for those around you, and in a flow with just enough challenge to keep you happy and creating something wonderful. Sounds like magic, but it's not. You can create that life every single day. You can have a life full of love, excitement, hope, and creation. Our mission at CMH Coaching is to flood the earth with light through compassion, mindfulness, and hope. And I'm going to ask a favor of you. If you like what you see and hear today, think of someone you know that would enjoy and benefit from this message. Our mission is to flood the world with compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Share this with them. But for now, this is time just for you. So settle into whatever you're doing and enjoy this time with the girls, where we create that one awesome, amazing, perfect life every one of us is seeking.
You gotta watch your thinking.
Yes, we're on.
Watch your thinking.
Yep.
Yes.
There we are. Hi, 50/50 girls.
Hello, hello.
So glad to see everybody. We are here for a creator-based life. This is your weekly podcast from CMH Coaching. We empower women of faith to create the lives they love, the lives they've always wanted. And I'm here with Jaycine, a business coach, a mom, a grandma, and an avid runner, and Jennifer DeRoos, a coach, a can grow anything gardener, and a hypnotherapist. And I'm Beth, a master life coach, author, and creator of The Creator-Based Way. Create your one awesome, amazing, perfect life. So this is Resilience Month, and I'm super stoked about it. It's going to be really fun.
It is. Yeah.
My favorite. Be like a bouncy ball. They have all the fun, right? Just bounce back. But today's kind of a little bit more somber day, with it being a day of remembrance for 9/11.
Yeah.
Where were you guys on that day? Where were you? What were you doing that morning? I was driving a kid home from seminary, from church at 8 a.m. And we heard it on the radio and went, what the heck? And came home and watched what was going on.
We were in our very last year of school in South Carolina. I was doing my last, and he was finishing up his master's, and I can remember finally the heat breaking in South Carolina. The sky was blue. It was just one of those beautiful fall mornings.
Yeah.
And I can remember waking up and just, and then hearing the news and just bottoming out. Yeah.
So many things changed.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. Yeah. I was teaching a seminary class, which for those of you who don't know what that is, it's like a Bible study every single morning for high school age kids, 14 to 18. And I had all of those age groups in my class. So, because we were from a small town. And one of the kids came in, and we held it in the library of our elementary school. And he came in and was like, have you heard the news? And
oh my goodness.
So they had a TV in there. And so we turned it on, and we all watched the second tower go down together. It was
that must have been a moment.
chilling. It was chilling. Yeah. And then just having these high school kids
Well,
say,
it's such good kids that will come get up at that hour of the day when they're
right.
in school and come to study the Bible and the scriptures. It's amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
And then just their faith and being able to hold hands together and kneel in prayer and pray and just pray, because that's all we knew what to do.
That's really all anybody could do. If you weren't a superhero or one of the amazing super workers that were helping all of the helpers, it was just so amazing. So many moments of courage and so much beauty among the ashes, right?
We ended up moving to the DC area the next fall.
Oh, wow.
Actually, this summer into the fall. Yeah. And it was it was still very raw, and it's still, I mean, still people still think about it, but you meet people that, like, one of the women I worked with, her father, his office was right there where the plane hit in the Pentagon.
Wow.
And that day he decided to take a personal day.
Oh, wow.
But he lost all of his staff, all of his friends. And it was just, I kept running into stories of people it became very, I mean, it was real then, but it became very real when we moved out there.
Well, and it's like all of the courage that was there, all of the heroism, it really is a symbol of resilience, the symbol of American resilience, to be able to come back and to rebuild. It's a performing arts center there now. I think it's going to be dedicated today, the Perlman Center for the Performing Arts.
Oh,
And so just an amazing. I think the thing is, though, is how we choose to remember that day.
right.
It makes all the difference if we remember it the right way for us, whatever the right way is for us. That right remembering can really build us up and help us.
Mhm.
Or we can get stuck in some ways that aren't so good for us, and it will not build us. Yeah.
One of the things that, as you were, had us thinking about this, one of the things that I just really was like very hopeful in this whole like national tragedy was just how everybody started to come together. People from all different walks of life.
It was amazing.
Wanting to help each other out. And even not, I mean, like, if they couldn't help out somebody in like New York or the Pentagon or the families of the Pennsylvania airplane, they wanted to help in other ways. And I was like, I would love to continue, like, if we could just continue that feeling of like camaraderie and helpful, so that
we had everyone was one purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we
singular purpose. Absolutely.
Yeah, we had a singular purpose. And because we're on the West Coast in Oregon, and what ended up happening is our blood donation centers were just filled. Like, people were wanting to donate blood.
Cool.
How can we help? That's the thing. Some people were able to donate financially. Other people said, you know what, I can go give blood, and I can give blood however many times. And I don't remember how often you're allowed to, but there were we were setting up blood banks. We were setting up, the kids wanted to send some, not food, but what was it? They did letters. That's what they did. They did some letters, and then they did like some treats and stuff they wanted to send it to another school that was close. And so anyway, it was one purpose, and everybody coming together and feeling that connection. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. It was a horrific loss and a phenomenal response.
Right.
Right. Amazing. It's amazing. So when you want to remember in a tough time like that, and you want to remember in the way that's right for you, what things help you?
Journaling for me is pretty big. Mm-hmm. So being able to write in my journal and then go back, and I know Beth does a 5-year journal. She's talked about it before, but those of you who are just joining us, just being able to journal and write about your feelings, and then also making sure that you journal afterwards. Maybe on that, I'm thinking about the day my dad died, and journaling that day, and then journaling I haven't been perfect at it, but subsequent years after that, and just seeing, how it's changed, and the remembrances that they become sweeter.
Yeah, they do.
As the years go, they maybe because I'm choosing to have them be sweeter, but they are much, much sweeter. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's the choice that's what right remembering is all about, right?
Mhm.
It's the choice to remember something in a way that serves you best.
Mhm.
There's so many different viewpoints we can do, about just something as simple as a fender bender, so
True.
many different viewpoints in the way we can remember it. We can remember it as the horrible insurance agent that shortchanged me and didn't fix my car, right? We can remember it as the sweet bystander on the corner who stepped in and helped me to steady myself after that. There's just that kind of diversity. We can choose the way we're going to remember. The event is what it is, right? But the story we tell about the event is what really matters in our long term. What were you going to say, Jen?
Well, just to piggyback on what you say, because I learned, and this is something I had to learn, because I always thought my story was the story,
Right? It made sense to you. It had to be the only story.
It is the story. And it wasn't until as we got older as children in my family that we would come together as adults and talk about like a family event that happened. And like one of my sisters or brother would be like, oh, that's not what happened, or that's not what I experienced.
That's not bad.
We all have a different perception or experience of what happened, but it's okay because that was your experience. And so and what I'm referring to is not really a good experience, and so like you said, you have a choice to look and actually change kind of the story of like, okay, well, this is what I experienced. And because I'm telling that story and holding on to all of the feelings and all of the justifications and all that stuff and everything, is it serving me? And so a lot for me, the right remembering is actually saying, okay, this is what happened. This is how I feel about it, but it's time to let it go.
I love that. Is it serving me?
It's just time to be done with it.
Right.
Yeah. Because it doesn't matter really who's right or wrong or that even happened. It's over. It's done. I can't go back and change. But by thinking about it, I'm going back and revisiting it and refeeling and rehashing. That's not serving me.
Right.
And I think about how the different ways that I choose to remember events appear in my body. Mm-hmm. Somebody used the phrase last weekend, body, mind, and spirit. And it jogged for me. Those are three ways that I remember. I remember in my body. I remember in my mind. I remember in my spirit. And if I choose to remember something like, and I'm just going to go back to the insurance agent, like the insurance agent that shortchanged me and I wasn't able to get what I got done, what I wanted to get done. If I choose to remember it that way, I carry a tightness about that event in my body. In my mind, master storyteller, he was truly a villain. And in my spirit, it's like just disconcerted. It's unhealthy, it's unbalanced, it's uncomfortable in my spirit. And so the choice that I make is everything for not only my future health, but my future peace of mind. In choosing how I will remember. Yeah. What do you guys, have you had experiences like that with body, mind, spirit?
Oh yeah.
The three of those coming together?
Yeah. And I think though that if you have had an experience, it's more along the traumatic side and there's some physical like injury or impact on you. I think then that it's your body is remembering. And it's in your
I believe that too. Your body does anniversaries. My body remembers.
Oh yeah.
Even if my mind doesn't remember, I'll feel puny or really emotional or something. And a couple of days later, I'll go, oh, that was my brother died.
Yeah.
And I missed it, but my body didn't miss it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There was my ex-husband, everything came crashing down in September. And September of 1986. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
And it's, fast forward several years later, I'm in the doctor's office and my husband is hunting. He goes hunting the end of September and for 1 or 2 weeks, whatever his job would allow. And I was left home with the kids. Actually, he started taking the boys, but anyway, I would find myself I found myself in the doctor's office, and Dr. O'Neill looked at my chart and he said, Jaycine, with bronchitis, like sick, sick.
So sick.
Bronchitis, yes. And he's like, I'm looking at your chart. You haven't seen me since last year. And it was a day earlier last year. And let me look back. And this was the 4th year in a row I had been in his office almost exactly the same day. And it was about 3 days into Mark's hunting trip, which coincided with the time that Marty and I, everything
blew up. Yeah.
And he had left. I mean, he left. So that was a real eye-opener to me. I became hyper aware, and I'm like, okay, well, what can I do to prepare for next year now that I know? And this is before I knew anything about anything.
Yeah.
Man, I was in my early 30s, and I was just like, oh my word. So
how do I not succumb to bronchitis next September?
Yes. So I didn't get bronchitis the following September. I got a huge bladder infection.
Okay.
So it's the same time. It's just a different problem. So how do we overcome this? And, I wish I would have had the tools that CMH coaching teaches, but I didn't. And my tool was to turn to Heavenly Father and in advance and say, I know this day is coming. I know that you can help me so that I don't end up with this again.
Yeah.
And year 5, nothing. Right. And since then, I've been.
That is so faith building.
Good. Really? Yes. But I had to become aware, right? I had to recognize that that's what was happening.
Yeah.
And it ended the stories in my mind that kept coming back. Something's going to happen to Mark while he's hunting, he's not going to come home. It was all about, he's not coming home. And it was interesting because he's a police officer and he had a canine. He worked with a canine, and he was in some really nasty, tight, holy smokes kind of situations.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have that angst, and my body didn't feel that angst when he was in those situations. But the hunting and the leaving, that brought, my body felt it, and it responded in a really interesting way. So pay attention to patterns.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I also believe it because, this is something I've been really kind of looking into, because I'm learning more about how when we store the trauma in our bodies, we store it in our nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of really good techniques out there to help release it from our nervous system. So you may even need to reach out to somebody that does that type of trauma work, depending on the level of your trauma, or if you're able to move past it. But it's so fascinating, how we'll store the story in our mind, in our brain, but we'll store the sensation, we'll store the physical feeling of it in our body. And so, it's just interesting when you put it all together.
And it disrupts the physical body, the energies of it. It's wild.
Yeah. So great.
Okay. So Jaycine, you had this beautiful meme.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about it just a little bit?
Yes.
Because what we want to talk about is, we know now that this happens, but we don't want to leave people with just the problem.
Right.
So what do we do to remember things better?
Oh my goodness.
Let's start with the meme.
Okay. Yeah.
So good.
What?
It'll take me a second. I can get it up and I can share it.
So as you guys are thinking about, if you're able to picture, if you have one of those imaginations like I have, where I can actually picture what is happening, I hope that this meme will resonate with you, and that you'll be able to bring it up in times that you need.
It is the most beautiful meme.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
I love it.
So on the darkest days when I feel inadequate, unloved, and unworthy, I remember whose daughter I am, and I straighten my crown. It doesn't say I put it on, because I already had it on, right? I just need to straighten it. This is who I am. This is who I'm remembering, right? I'm remembering who I am.
Well,
Yes.
and look at the look on her face. Her chin is up. She's regal. Her shoulders are down. Her chest is lifted. She's like, I am a daughter with a crown. I am. And she's just a little straight.
Gotta fix. Yeah, it came off kilter just a little, but we can fix it. Yeah.
It's just beautiful. And she's feeling it. See it on her face. She is feeling it. Yeah, thank you for finding that. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to straighten our figurative crown. What other things can we do to help as we're practicing this remembering, or maybe with things that we haven't remembered as well as we want to, and we want to adjust? Journaling, straightening the crown, energetic release for the different emotions that are left in our body. What else? What do you guys do personally to straighten things out? Jenn, I know you do a lot with hypnosis.
Yeah, I do a lot with that and imagery, but sometimes with myself, I'm just like, I'm just going to go to bed and I'm just going to put this day to bed.
Yeah.
And tomorrow will be better because
a little self-care.
It's just like, and it's okay. And I've learned to really let myself be okay with the mess that the day was. And then just pick it up the next day and do a little bit better. So
yeah. I love using essential oils and just scent in general. Dr. Benjamin Purkis has a technique called the aroma freedom technique that's specific for releasing traumatic memories. And I've just had phenomenal results with following that technique, using the oils, bringing up some sad or angry or something that felt like a mild trauma. Great big traumas, you're going to want a professional working with you.
Oh, yeah.
But something smaller, and just breathing that new scent, that calming scent, and allowing the memory to be there, but breathing through it. And really, truly, the scent as it travels that, what is that, 1.5 inches, 2 inches from my nose to my amygdala right there. It just calms my amygdala down. And the next time I think of that event, my body's like, oh, okay. I mean, it's just the traumatic memory release is amazing with aroma freedom. That's something I've used a lot with the traumas that I've had. Yeah. Under Dr. Purkis's direction. I don't do that one by myself, but I'm trained in it. So we do it on CMH coaching. What else do you guys do? How do you deal with those hard things? Jaycine, prayer was one, right?
Prayer, music, just like Beth mentions often, and Jenn, practice the pause.
I love practice the pause.
Just practice the pause. And, if you're pausing, you can pray. So, yes. Oh, my goodness.
One thing I have learned too is there's going to be hard things in your life. And you're just going to have to accept that we're in mud, we're in muck, and it's going to be, and you're just going to have to wade through it, and use your tools to get through it, but it's not going to be there forever, hopefully. But then when I really came to the understanding, like back in, my first foray into all this, like self, change, a lot of my problem was I wanted it fixed. I wanted it perfect, and I wanted it this way. And if it wasn't this way, then things were wrong and bad, and I couldn't be happy, and I couldn't be at peace, and all this stuff and everything. And just changing that and just saying, you know what? I am in crap. This is crap. It's okay. It's
just like the lean in.
Accept it.
Yeah.
So you don't have any more, what is the equation? Pain plus resistance equals suffering. Yeah. You're just going to be in suffering. Sometimes
stop resisting.
Yeah. Just accept it. And that's hard. Oh, that's so hard. But there's like this easing, or this lessening, this letting up that happens when you do that.
It does. Yeah. And that processing that takes place really makes a difference. Okay. So we've talked about how we can work with it when it comes up. How can we work with it to remember rightly so we don't start it in the first place? And Jaycine taught an amazing workshop on this on Saturday. You want to just give us a quick triangular viewpoint?
Yes. So we've got 2 triangles, and you can picture in your mind, one is upside down And if you have an upside down triangle, think of that tip. It's not very steady, is it? You're trying to balance on the tip.
It's
And
not going to stay balanced very long.
Not
It's
so
gonna
much.
topple.
So the upside down triangle is the dreaded drama triangle. And it's a victim is at the bottom of that. That's where we are.
Everything heaped up on top of that victim right down there. At the
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And oftentimes in order to have a victim, we have to have a villain or a persecutor. And then we're always looking for a rescuer or something to rescue us, whether it's food, whether it's, self-soothing things or whatever it is. And that dreaded drama triangle, think about drama, it causes anxiety, negative self-talk, so many negative inward focusing, right? Self-centered.
Yeah, it's all about me right here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it just feels heavy and our bodies feel heavy.
Yeah.
And then if we can find a way, and there's some great tools on finding a way to move out of that victim role and maybe look at our persecutor as maybe change that in your mind and say, oh my gosh, maybe they're not persecuting me. Maybe they're challenging me to do better. Because they did that, I stepped up and I learned how to eat correctly for most of my life because I was called fat when I was in elementary school, whatever that looks like, but changing that perspective. And then that triangle is the triple C. I like to call it the triple C triangle because at the top of that beautiful triangle, which is steady and
strong base, good strong base. Yeah.
Yeah. It has strength. At the base, we have the challenger. And instead of somebody rescuing us, what if we had a coach that helps us to pull that out? And then we become the creator instead of the victim of our life. And so just having those pictures in my mind, and being able to recognize, where am I right now? Am I over in the dreaded drama? Right. And like Jenn says, sometimes we just want to be there for a while. And that's okay. That's okay. But when we're ready, we can have the tools to move out of that by changing our perspective and turning to our Savior and turning to coaches, maybe friends. There are all
maybe
kinds
a coach. Come to group coaching.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It makes all the difference. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's what brings us to remember things in our best interest kind of way, right? The right remembering, because you're remembering as a creator, or if you're helping a friend, you might be remembering as a coach or remembering as a challenger, but you're remembering from the viewpoint of the person who was in charge of their own life and wasn't victimized. Mm-hmm. That changes everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a beautiful, beautiful experience. So moving forward, any ideas on what you might do this week to remember rightly? What's right for you to right remembering? I love that phrase. I could just keep saying it over and over. Those 2 R's, right remembering.
One of the things that I've learned, and Jenn kind of hit on it earlier, was telling yourself, for me, I tried right remembering, but it was all Pollyanna, it was like, oh, rainbows and unicorns. And
and you just take your foot and squash the bad. That doesn't work.
Like bury it. Like I kept trying to bury it under the carpet. And pretty soon my carpet became this huge mountain, and it either surfaced in shingles or just some kind of hives. Like that's how I internalized all of these things I shoved under the carpet. But just saying, this is what I want to practice this week. Just saying to myself, when I start to remember and go into that, victim or something that happened, is just pausing and feeling it and just saying, that hurt. You're right.
And you were so strong to sit in that. Yeah.
That really hurt. And just allowing myself to feel the hurt.
Yeah.
And then say, all right, yeah, I know it hurt, but take a look at where we are now. Have you looked around? Look at this, and then being able to coach. I'm going to really practice coaching myself to say, look where we are now. What do you think?
Yeah.
Didn't we do good? Yeah.
Jaycine, it's also something that you do that I think takes the energy out of what we're in. Is your famous saying of name it to tame it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In feeling gross, acknowledge you're feeling gross. I am feeling gross right now. This is really hard. And it just it kind of like deflates the balloon or whatever. And then you're like, okay, so
Yeah.
then you can start adding some of your tools in. But sometimes I just have to say, you know what, this really sucks right now. I can't stand this. I'm not having a good time. And this is blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay, that felt good. Now let's
You got it out. So
yeah.
then
I named it to tame it. Now let's try and resolve and see what I can do to move out of this state. Yeah.
Yeah. And be patient.
Yeah.
Just really take care of yourself and love yourself and be willing to just let yourself heal. Don't shove yourself into healing.
Don't
Let
force
yourself heal, right? Yeah. Just a little extra self-love. Yeah. It's a good week for healing. Lots of memories. Lots of memories, lots of things to work through and to appreciate, like how wonderful your students were that day. That's a really sweet story. Thanks for sharing it.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. So tomorrow we have Coaching Clear. We're very excited about that. It's just such an amazing group to be able to get together and do a little bit of coaching, a little bit of baggage, get rid of that emotional baggage so you remember a little better, and then create what you want your next week to be. It's just a beautiful group to work with. And that's open to whomever wants to sign up. Or if you're a regular client, you can come for Coaching Clear just as part of being a client. On Wednesday, we have book club. And you guys are reading The Power of Stillness, right?
Correct.
In
Correct.
book club.
Mhm.
Amazing book. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Jenn, go ahead. I've been talking a lot today, please. And
But-
Saturday.
I haven't noticed. It's been really nice. Yeah.
because it's a book about mindfulness and how to have this view of what you're going through, but coming from a gospel, a spiritual base.
Mhm.
And kind of already those who are living that way already have kind of the understanding of what it means to be mindful and be present. But it's also opening up a lot of things I didn't really understand in my own spiritual practice that I can lean into and improve upon and
More
have
tools.
a different experience. Yeah. So and we're just into the book about what, 3 chapters now. We're going to be 6.
Yeah.
Or yeah. So we're new into the book, but it's been very much a balm to my soul to read this book. I love this.
It is a favorite of mine. It is an amazing book. Yeah. And then it's kind of a quiet weekend at CMH Coaching, which is kind of nice for our mindfulness practice, right?
Yes, I need to plug one thing.
Do.
Thursday, you have your coaching that you're teaching other coaches.
Thank you so much for plugging that. I don't know why I forget it, but yes, Thursday we have coach training and I delight in coach training. We, in the creator-based way, people come, they learn, they hang around for a while, and then quite often they decide they want to become a coach and learn the creator-based way. That's what happened with Jaycine, right, Jaycine?
It is. Yeah.
It filled in that hole for you, that spot that was missing after all the coach training that you got. And
Right.
yes, we are having coach training on Thursday and we are talking about resilience and we go a lot deeper and they come out, our coaches come out master life coaches and creator-based certified, which is really cool. We are looking at maybe starting another class the 1st of next year. We have enough interest that now I'm kind of rethinking. I was going to wait till 2025, but enough people are coming in now that are like, well, could we maybe 2024?
Yeah.
So yeah, we are thinking about that, but it is a delight. It is life-changing to do the coach training. Thank you, Jenn. That's Thursday.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then we've got a workshop coming up the first weekend in October, which we're pretty excited about. You want to tell us a little bit about?
I don't know yet what it's all about.
It's going to be imagery.
Yeah, I'm still working with it all. Yeah. Something to do with like how it's the season of harvest, and then we're coming on Thanksgiving, and about also even receiving. So who knows? It's going to be all those things.
Right.
Well, what I love, October's theme is receiving, and I, for one, am not a good receiver. It's just challenging for me to accept somebody to serve me or to gracefully accept a gift, except I do love presents. They're my favorite. But doing it gracefully, maybe not so much, or letting somebody help me, even help me carry the groceries in sometimes. I'm like, I got this. I'm good.
Right.
So we're going to practice through the month of October the skills that we need to be good receivers, because there are so many things out there for us that we're just waiting. They're just waiting for us to accept. And
We're
to be
unbalanced.
bring
We're
that in.
unbalanced if all we do is give and never receive.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
So
Yeah.
true.
And so that's one of the things that we're going to cover, some more receiving and the imagery, and give you some more tools for how to be better receivers. And that's coming up in just a few weeks. But for now, for this week, let's practice some right remembering. Come see us at the 50/50 Girl Club. We're on Facebook. Just do a request, 50/50 Girl Club. Do a request to join. And let's move forward and make a great life. We'll just create the life we always wanted, right? All right.
All right.
Guys, great to see you, everybody. We'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.
I can do this. We stopped recording.
I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think.
Hey, thanks for joining us today in A Creator-Based Life. I hope you felt that compassion, mindfulness, and hope you came seeking today. You can find more of it at cmhcoaching.com or on linktree/cmhcoaching. Of course, any social media outlet, we're there too. Because you felt the benefit and light in this message, please invite those you care deeply about to join us. Help us to create a ripple effect across the globe of compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Then we can create a creator-based life together. Have a great week, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
Choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring